from Chelsea again, what do your macros look like? Cristine, do you want to
My
explain?
macro camera?
No, your macros.
So macros are a common term in the diet fitness world where it basically means what are you eating?
Yeah.
And macros consist of protein, carbs, and fats, right?
Yeah.
Right, Ben?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's basically how are you eating, and people use this to optimize their training. Like if you want a higher percentage of protein in your macros, like you would adjust and like calculate it that way.
Is this something you actually track and do though
No,
regularly? No,
it's not.
right?
In part because I am not really trying to optimize for some competition, except the bench I already did. No, I'm just kidding. I also don't care that much.
You don't care?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I guess that's not accurate. I do care that I get enough protein, but I don't feel personally the need to like look at every single slice of whatever I eat and count how many carbs versus fats it is and optimize that way. I mostly just care, like, am I getting enough protein? And then generally speaking, am I eating healthily? Am I getting vegetables? Like,
I remember when we first started getting into weightlifting a little more seriously, I think we did start tracking some things. And then you sort of start to recognize like, oh, this meal is generally good and has this amount of protein. And you start having, you stop having to just specifically record everything. If you're not super dedicated and into precisely recording everything, you just sort of know what it means to have a healthy diet that is getting you enough protein, for example.
yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's whatever works for you. Some people aren't comfortable tracking everything they eat because it can like trigger things, which I totally understand. And the only time, like Ben mentioned, that I did track them was just to get some understanding of like, what am I eating? Am I eating enough protein? And there's only one way to find out, which is to track it. So I did for like 2 weeks to kind of figure it out. And now I know how much chicken, per meal is what I need.
How many scoops of protein
How many scoops of
powder?
protein powder.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, just like what's a good balanced diet. And since learning that, I don't track.
It depends on the person. For some people, I think it's incredibly helpful to know your BMR, your was it basal
metabolic rate?
Basically,
Yeah.
like just by being alive, there's a certain number of calories your body is burning. So like even without doing any exercise at all, if you were to eat under that number, you'd lose weight. I'm not saying that's a healthy mindset to have with it, right? But actually, we were watching the H3 podcast the other day.
Oh yeah.
And Ethan was talking about, I think it's Nutrisystem. Anyway, I don't know anything about Nutrisystem, but according to him, it's like at least the start of the program, he's only eating like 1,000 calories a day. And I guess, because that will be below almost anyone's BMR.
Yeah.
So you're just going to lose weight, but you're going to feel terrible and starving all the time.
And then you're gonna binge right after you're done.
And it's totally not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's like scientifically, in theory, that would work.
But mentally, no one does that.
But that's totally not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's different ways of approaching that, right? So like maybe you only want to consume a little bit under what that sort of baseline is for you, but then you have enough energy to actually do some types of exercise or weight training you actually enjoy doing, and then I think you'll have much better results.
But it does depend on your goals. Like you said, to do a little bit under that number, that's if you want to lose weight.
Yes.
Right? So if you want to build muscle, you wouldn't want to do that, generally speaking, right? You probably want to have more food.
Yes.
Yeah.